Hello everyone and welcome back to Age Nagash, channel dedicated to Age Sigmar, and in this video we're going to be continuing with the Gloomspite Gitz in the army archive, and we are going to be looking at their Troggoth units, or basically their trolls. So we've actually got quite a few units to go through with this, as the Troggoths now have 5 units, and it is actually possible for you to have a full Troggoth army and a Gloomspite army if that is what you would like. So firstly we're going to start with the oldest models for the Troggoths, and this is going to be the Fellwater Troggoths. So they come in units of 3. You can have up to a unit of 12 of these. It's going to cost you 160 points for 3 of these models. They do not by any stretch of imagination get the mass legion discount, because they're not really mass regimented, monstrous infantry, shall we say. So basically they count as other units. However, if you have a Dankhold troggboss as your general for your Gloomspite army, these guys will become battle lines. That's how you have a Troggoth army essentially, and then their other unit allows them to do that as well, which we'll get to in a little while. But so what are the descriptions? So a unit of Fellwater Troggoths has any number of models, each armed with a spiked club and noxious vomit. So firstly, when it says any number of models, it's something you might see quite a bit when looking through the war scrolls. That is true. However, in match play, and that's how I review things, it has to be what it says in the General's Handbook or at the back of the Gloomspites or on War Scroll Builder, which is minimum size units of 3, maximum units of 12. So going into their stats, so firstly looking at their will stats, so they've got a 6-inch movement, a 5+ save, bravery 5 and 4 wounds. So not a bad movement. I mean, there's so many fast things in the game now, but for a standard movement it's not bad. 5+ save hurts a little bit. Bravery 5 is the worst thing about them, and 4 wounds is nice that they're not free. It shows that they are big and tough, aren't they? So bravery 5 though is something you really want to look out for. You might have to inspire its presence these. You might have to just obviously try and keep them alive, try and make their save a bit better. Just be careful with them, especially if you take a big unit, and if they take quite a few casualties, quite a few of them are going to run away to battle shock more than likely. Okay, so then going into the weapons, so we've got 2 types, and we've got 1 missile weapon and 1 melee weapon. So the first one, the missile weapon, which is Noxious Vomit. So it's 6-inch range, 1 attack, 2 hit, 3 wound, -2 rend, and D3 damage. A nice little short range shooting attack that is. Of course, the only thing about it, short range, 6 inches, that's only double, the far away is basically, combat range. So it is short. However, doing D3 damage on -2 rend, and it's a 2 to hit and 3 to wound, so you've got more than enough chance of getting that through. And then going into the melee weapon, so we've got Spiked Club. Now, it's got a 2-inch range, 4 attacks, 3 to hit, 3 to wound, -1 rend, and 2 damage. Yep, nice standard attack that. Good to hit into wound characteristics, no 4 in sight, so yep, that is good. And there's a rend to it as well, so yeah, I like that. And then going into the abilities, so regeneration, so in your hero phase, you can roll dice for this unit. If you do so, on a 4+, heal up to D3 wounds allocated to this unit. Great, so it's not even just healing 1 wound, it's D3. Very nice indeed. I believe a while ago it used to be roll a dice for each model in the unit that's taking wounds, and on a 4 they heal wounds. However, that would have been impossible because you've got to stack wounds on a certain model in the unit. You can't spread out. But no, it's nice that they've changed the wording on that. And then the next one, and the last ability, is Terrible Stench. So subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons that target this unit, because they stink so bad with all the rotten fish and bones and humans and whatever nasty things they've been eating. Okay, so then they've got their keywords, so Destruction, Troggoth, Gloomspite Gitz, and Fellwater. So not too many keywords. Troggoth might be a one that we'll see come up in a bit, as obviously Gloomspites will as well. Okay, so there are 160 points though. At that price, you're looking at, are they better than Cryptords? That sort of, they're in that. Are they better than Vargas? They're in that sort of area. The one thing they have got that makes them better than, let's say, Cryptords, is they've got a better to hit into wound characteristics. Well, better to, yeah, one of them's a 3 or 4. So anyway, then they've got a -1 rend. And they've also got that shooting attack, which could do a lot of damage. It's not like a shooting attack that hits on a 5 or something. It hits on a 2. So it's got a good chance of going through. If the enemy fails their charge against you and they're quite close, they're going to be unfortunate. But because they've obviously got to move us 6 inches, these Fellwater Troggoths, effectively that shooting range is 12 inches because they move 6 inches forward and then they can puke. So more like 12 inches. And a range attack. You do have some other range attacks in the Gloomspite Gitz, that's true. However, they're not incredibly plentiful. And this is going to be one of the best ones for rend purposes. So yeah, I do like them. I think they're definitely be fun to take. For me personally, I absolutely love these models. I used to do Orcs and Goblins when I was younger, back in Fantasy. Never played the game, but just collecting the models and stuff. I never managed to get these Troggoths because they were too expensive for me back then. However, I just absolutely love the model. I just love the idea of river trolls, because that's what Fellwater Troggoths are. They're just river trolls. I just love the idea of them ambushing Empire soldiers and stuff. So there is a place in my heart for them. And yeah, I think they're not bad either. I don't know if they're the best, but I think definitely worth trying out. If you've got them, of course. But anyway, going on to the next one, which is going to be the newer Troggoths. And this is going to be Rockgut Troggoths. So similar to the Fellwater Troggoths, they come in size units of 3 for 160 points. You can take max size units of 12 for no Legion discount with that. And they are count as other units. However, if you have got a Dankhold troggboss as your general in a Gloomspite Gitz army, they are battle line like the Fellwater Troggoths are. Okay, so these, first off, what I will say about these are brand new kits. I've been told by quite a few people that they are the best kit they've ever worked with because they're really interposable and stuff, the arms and the limbs and things like that. They've got a lot of character to them. I've seen them up close in person, like at tournaments and stuff, and they're just fantastic. You know, there's one of them with like a bird's nest on its head, with a little bird like reaching out to try and get a worm that's like hanging down from, I believe it's a rock or something above the head. They're lovely models. I can't really fault that, and because of that, if I was to ever do Gloomspite, I would have to get these guys in there. I'd have Fellwater Troggoths in there because, like I say, I really like this models, but I'd definitely put some Rockgut Troggoths in there. And the nice thing about the Rockguts is I believe Rockguts were already a type of troll in Destruction, and then they just replaced their models. I think they were the ones that were quite skinny and lanky. The blue ones, I think these are just the new versions of them. So that's nice as well, how they're not a new type of troll as far as I'm aware. They're a replacement for a model that there was already a case. Okay, right, now going into the description. So a unit of Rockgut Troggoths has any number of models, each armed with a massive stone maul. So looking at their will stats, they've got a 6-inch movement, a 5+ save, bravery 5 and 4 wounds. So exactly the same as the Fellwater Troggoths, so be careful of their bravery. Find ways to mitigate it. If you're lucky in the Gloomspite army, there's a lots of ways for you to get command points. So it's ways for you just to inspire presence, and there are also other ways for you to not have to take battle shock. So definitely worth bearing in mind that. Right, okay, and then going into the melee weapons, so they've only got one, and unlike the Fellwater Troggoths, they don't have any missile weapons. So their one attack they do have is the massive stone maul. So it's got a 2-inch range, 2 attacks, 3 to hit, 3 to win, -2 to rend, 3 damage. So this attack is, I would say, better than the Spite Club for the Fellwater Troggoths, because yeah, you only get half the amount of attacks. However, you get an extra 1 rend to it because this is -2 rend opposed to -1, and it's 3 damage of 2 damage. Now, don't get me wrong, the enemy is going to chuck loads of minuses to hit at this unit. Then if you're only making 2 attacks each, you're probably not going to do too good. However, I just love the idea of you just, it's like with my Morgus Archive I've got for my death. As soon as the enemy fails to save or something, it's just like, right, that's just a flat 3 damage, you take that. It's a very nice feeling to tell to your opponent. So these guys, I like to look at them as the Morgus Archive of the Gloomspite Gitz. As Morgus Archive are one of my favourite units in the whole game. Right, so going into their abilities. So they've got 3, unlike the 2 which the Fellwater Troggoths have. So let's see what they've got. So regeneration. So this is the same as the Fellwaters. And this is in your hero phase. You can roll a dice for this unit. If you do so on a 4+, heal up to D3 wounds allocated to this unit. Nice. And when I say like it's the same as the Fellwater Troggoths, I don't mean, oh, well, it's just, you know, it's a bit boring. So no, that's a really important they do have that, because if they didn't have that, it would be a big negative compared to the Fellwater. So nice they've got that as well. Then moving on to the next ability, which is Stony Skin. So roll a dice each time you allocate a wound or mortal wound to this unit. On a 5+, that wound or mortal wound is negated. That is so strong. It's not even just a mortal wound save and a 5+. That is wounds and mortal wounds. Even that alone, I think, puts them above the Fellwater Troggoths so far. I mean, the Fellwater Troggoths, they make you -1 to hit them a melee, but it's not nearly as good as Stony Skin. Right, okay, then going into their last ability, that of course being throwing boulders. So in your shooting phase, pick one enemy unit within 12 inches of this unit and are visible to it, and roll a dice. If the roll is equal to or less than the number of models in that unit, that enemy unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Okay, nice and simple. This is good against hordes. If you go against hordes, you don't need to even roll a dice, you just do D3 mortal wounds. Lovely. Do against units of 10 or more models, you do no mortal wounds automatically. Then against units of 5 or more models, you got more than enough chance of you doing the D3 mortal wounds. Then a unit of 3 or more models, and then it starts becoming a case of you've got more like a 50-50 if you're going to, well, it is a 50-50 to do a D3 mortal wounds. And then you bring it all the way down to if you're targeting a monster or a hero, basically one model units, you're going to need to roll 1 for you to do the D3 mortal wounds. So definitely pick your targets carefully with this one. I mean, nothing in range, and you've always got a chance of doing it to a 1 model unit, haven't you? But no, I like the idea against like hordes and things like that. Well, not even hordes, just units of like, what, 6 or more models. You're going to be doing automatic D3 mortal wounds, which is, you know, you're going to be doing an automatic, a good arcane bolt from back in the day. So I do like that. And then the keywords, I got Destruction, Troggoth, Gloomspite Gitz, and Rockgut. So that's the same as we saw for the Fellwaters, but of course the Fellwater part of them is replaced with Rockgut. Okay, so what do I think of the Rockgut Troggoths? I think they're better than Fellwater Troggoths. They don't have that shooting attack, so they can't, you know, reach that enemy hero or enemy buffing hero that is, you know, behind them, or wizard, something like that, behind like the enemy front line. If that's how it's set up, you can't puke over them, and you can throw your rock, but it's not going to do that well against that single model unit. However, they're a lot more tougher with that 5-up death save they've got, basically. Especially when that compares with their 5-up save and 5 bravery, you really need them to not take so much damage. And they've got the healing, obviously, like the Fellwaters. But for me, it's just the Stony Skin. For me, mainly that puts them ahead. The attack, like I say, I prefer the attack, but I think overall the Spike Club of the Fellwater Troggoth attack is better. I know I said I preferred the Rockgut one, but if I put, you know, the math hammer into it and all that sort of thing, I don't know, the Spike Club for the Fellwaters is probably going to be better, just because if the enemy still makes them loads of minuses to hit, you're still rolling more dice, so you've just got more chance of them getting through. And when I, you know, it's obviously if you compare everything to being minuses to hit, it's hard to, you know, say how good it is, but there's just so many things in this game now that can make you minuses to hit. It's always worth bearing that in mind, I think. But models wise, like I said, I do love the Fellwater Troggoths. They, like, from nostalgia of childhood, all those sorts of things, I always wanted them but never could have them. But the Rockgut Troggoths are just fantastic new models, absolutely lovely, so you can't really fault them on that. Right, okay, so then we move on to the other new unit for the Troggoths, and this of course is going to be the Dankhold Troggoths. So these are a lot bigger, a lot tougher, and you can actually make the Dankhold troggboss model from this kit as well, so that just shows just how much bigger it is. Okay, so Dankhold Troggoths. Now, they're going to cost you 220 points for one model. Okay, that's 220 points for one model. They come in max size units of 3 for 660 points. I just had to double check that, just because, yep, that is 660 points for 3 models in a unit, which makes them twice as expensive as Morgoth Archive, and I think that will be a fair comparison for them for this review. Now, they look fantastic. They really fit the theme, and they look pretty awesome. Now, they are going to be classed as other units. They're not going to be battle line. If you have a Dankhold Trog boss as your general and a Gloomspite Gitz army, they will not be battle line, unlike the other two we just reviewed, because they are, when a single model is costing you 220 points, you know they're not really battle line material, unless of course it's bloody flesh eater courts with all their zombie dragons and stuff now being battle line. But anyway, let us go into this unit. So it says a unit of Dankhold Troggoths can have any number of models each armed with a boulder, club and crushing grip. So just remember, any number of models in open play now to play, match play, minimum size unit of 1, maximum size unit of 3. So looking at their wheel stats, they've got a 6-inch movement, a 4+ save, bravery 6 and 10 wounds. Okay, so their movement is the same, but it'll maybe like that's be movement 7 or something. Because this guy, like I say, is costing you 220 points for one model, yeah? You could have 3 of the other trolls in a unit for 160 points. So he's a lot more than that. A lot more expensive. So the 4+ save is nice. Like again, I would have liked maybe a 3+ save, how expensive he is. However, he's a troll. He's not strapped in armour, so I sort of get it. But 10 wounds, I think, makes up for some of it. He's got a +1 to his bravery. I would have liked bravery 7 if I'm honest. I know it's a troll, so their bravery's not going to be good, but this guy's costing you 220 points. So let's go into his melee weapons. Right, so the Boulder Club. So it's got a 2-inch range, 3 attacks, 3 to hit, 3 to wound, -2 end, D6 damage. Okay, that's nice. That's like a Dragon Maw attack at that sort of range. You know, dragons like Jaws. But again, D6 damage is always going to be swingy, but still D6 damage is good. So yeah, I do like that. And then the next one is Crushing Grips. This is 1-inch range, 1 attack, and then it says see below. Okay, so we'll get to that now in the ability. So Crushing Grip. So do not use the attack sequence for an attack made with a Crushing Grip. Instead, pick one enemy model that is in range of the attack and roll a dice. If the roll is equal to or greater than that wound characteristics of that model, it is slain. Okay, so put simply, pick a model within 1 inch of this model, you roll a dice. If you beat its wounds characteristic, which is how many wounds it has written on its war scroll, you kill it. So if you roll higher than that number, you've crushed it in your hand, you've slaughtered it. So there's no confusion here. If I don't know, there's a enemy, what should we say, Star Drake next to this guy, and that Star Drake for some reason is on 3 wounds, and you roll your Crushing Grip and you get a 4. You don't kill that because it's on 3 wounds, but that's not his wounds characteristic, so you don't do it. But for things like here is a 5 wounds, things that you can do it to, even just for taking unit champions out of units or Gore Glaives, you know, from Blood Warriors, banners, all those sorts of things can really make a difference. I don't know, if you're playing against death, let's say skeletons, and by just taking away their banner, you can help yourself by making you not -1 to bravery anymore, which is definitely a big thing for a troll army and a Gloomspite army. Also, things like Nighthaunt, good shout, is the Chainrasp Horde. You take their unit champion out, and now they are bravery 6 instead of bravery 10. And this guy hits them with his club and makes them want to take a battle shock later. Well, I say makes them want to take battle shock, I really just mean you look forward for your opponent to roll their battle shock dice. Right, okay, then going into the rest abilities, so we've got magical resistance. So each time this unit is affected by a spell or endless spell, you can roll a dice. If you do so on a 4+, ignore the effects of the spell or endless spell on this unit. Okay, that's pretty big, because how Age of Sigmar now is, I'm sure a lot of you know this already, but it's shifted so much into magic. I'm not saying magic's overpowered now, but it's getting quite a fine line now, to the point where they had to just update Khorne to bring magic down a tone. And you're not always going to be fighting Khorne, are you? And so being able to just ignore magic is huge. I mean, like if I look at a lot of the armies and lists I take, I use magic as I like to do, a reliable way to do damage to the enemy. Like if I take a Nagash list, I'm relying on magic to do the damage to the enemy that I need to do it. Ignoring on a 4+ is pretty damn big, to the point where your opponent might not even cast a spell in this unit just because he doesn't want to risk it being a waste. And yes, 50% chance he could succeed, but they still might hold back on it. You know, it would make me have to double think. So yes, magical resistance is good. Now, moving on to the next one, which is a Reassuring Presence. So add 1 to the bravery characteristics of friendly Gloomspite Gitz units that are wholly within 12 inches of any friendly models with this ability. Okay, that's good. It's really going to help out your trolls, because now they're going to be standard bravery 6. And then this guy, because it's wholly within range of himself, it's going to be bravery 7. So what I said earlier about it'd be nice if this guy was bravery 7, he's bravery 7 effectively with this. He's always going to be in range of himself. As far as I'm aware, that's how the rules work. So yeah, I like that. Definitely want to say a must-have for this guy in there. You know, have a look to see what else there is out there with the reassuring presence. But no, that's good. This guy's expensive in points, but I can see where he's. I'm not going to say where he becomes worth it yet, but you can see where the points are going, I suppose. So yeah, 2 good abilities we've just read straight away there. Right, okay, then regeneration. So in your hero phase, you can roll a dice for this unit. If you do so on a 4+ heal up to D3 wounds allocated to this unit. Okay, so that's very standard to what we saw on the last 2 units we reviewed. And when I say standard, I don't mean bad anyway. It's all really nice, and nice to see that that is carried over. Okay, so the last ability is Squiggly Beast Followers. So at the start of the combat phase, roll a dice for each enemy unit within 3 inches of any friendly models with this ability. If the roll is equal to or greater than that number of models in that enemy unit suffers a 1 mortal wound. Okay, so basically, against heroes, you're going to automatically do a mortal wound against them. Against monsters, you're going to automatically do a mortal wound against them. And then all the other units, I mean, horde units, you're not going to do it if it's big blocks and stuff, but units of like 5 you could do. This is basically a revert of the Rockgut Troggoths for them throwing the rock. It's not as good as that, but it's like the flip side of it. So this is better at units with smaller amount of models, whereas the rock from the Rockguts was better with the bigger units. So interesting little twist there. And then going into the keywords, we've got Destruction, Troggoth, Gloomspite, and Dankhold. Right, so is this guy worth 220 points? Maybe. I mean, he's pretty survivable, ignoring the spells. I would have loved him to have the 5-up death saves that the Rockgut has. He's got 10 wounds, a bravery 7 because of his own ability. He buffs your army with adding 1 to the bravery, which is big. And the other thing about that was important to mention. So you might think, oh, it doesn't really matter, I've got enough points just doing Inspiring Presence, that sort of stuff. When the enemy starts chucking crit flares, so your Tomb Banshee, stuff like that damage you, depending on your bravery characteristics. Again, there's some stuff in the new Sinesh book that has that possibility as well. It's really, really, really good to buff your bravery characteristic rather than you just go Inspiring Presence. You can really start seeing it. Trust me, if you ever get burnt by it, I've basically played with Bravery Bomb lists and stuff. I sort of come up with them myself, so I haven't really been hurt by it before because I'm the one doing it to my opponents at the store. But I can tell you, as soon as you do, I don't know, a Bravery Bomb list to an enemy, they remember for next time to always try and have better bravery characteristics. So essentially what I'm trying to say, if you think you can get away doing Inspired Presence every time, you'll get burnt once, and then it will remind you that actually maybe just adding 1 to my bravery characteristic would have really helped there, because it could have been the difference between taking an additional mortal wound or an additional D3 mortal wounds or something like that. So yeah, that's important. And then ignoring spells on a 4+, I really like that. That's surprisingly, that's like one of my favourite abilities this guy's got, if not my favourite. And then the grip of crushing things, yeah, 10 wounds, yeah. 3 attacks doing D6 damage and -2 rend to it. So, I like this guy. I think he's fun. I think he adds things to your army. I would suggest if you've got him, try him out, see if you can make him work. However, 220 points. I think there are better things to have available to you in the Gloomspite Gitz army than a Dankhold Troggoth. Now, I think having 1 in your army could be a good idea. It gives you the extra to bravery. He's a bit of an annoying bastard to deal with him ignoring spells and stuff. And it will I think if you got 1, try it out, see how it goes. I think a unit of 3 for 660 points. If you're going full competitive, I don't think that's a good idea. I think it's more than a quarter of your army. It's getting to the point where, what is that? Is it a third? It's getting close to that, if not a third. I want to say yes because I think it'd be a load of fun. Basically, I love trolls, so I think it'd be a load of fun to say yes to it. Just do it, and you could do and see how it goes because I don't think many people have probably tried it. However, he is very expensive in his points. But if you're going an all Troggoth army, you've got a massive theme to it. Fuck it, do it. what's the worst that can happen? At least take one, I think, if you go all Troggoths. If you're going mainly Moon Clan or something like that, I think there's better things to put in your list. But like I say, I think this guy looks pretty awesome. So, we've got that, and then we're going to look at the 2 heroes the Troggoths have. Now, I usually do heroes, like in a separate video. However, as the Troggoths only have 5 units in total, I thought, all squeeze into one. And as I've been reviewing the Gloomspite Gitz for a long, long time now, I definitely want to complete their part in the archive until one day where they get another update. I think it'd be nice. So to start with the 2 we have for the heroes, we've got Mollog and we have got the Dankhold troggboss. And I'm going to go with Mollog first, just because, yes, he's a named character, he's a unique. He's basically the Shadespire or Underworld's warband for the Gloomspite Gitz. So, you know how it works. He's unique. He has some companions. You get them with Mollog, which are basically the squigs, the little interesting squigs that came out. And basically, I'll say it now. Is he going to be worth putting in your army? A lot of the Shadespire stuff is not worth putting in your army. You're going really competitive. However, it brings a lot of fun, a lot of narrative to it, and the models are pretty cool. So we'll be going through it nonetheless. Right, okay, so how many points is he going to cost you? He is going to cost you 170 points. Bear in mind he comes with, I think, 3 squigs. Is it 3 squig? Yeah, 3 squigs, I'm pretty sure he comes with. Bear in mind, one is like a rock squig. One is a flying squig, and the other one, I can't remember precisely what it is. Is it I think it's a mushroom squig. Okay, so let's have a look at his description. So Mollog is a named character. That is a single model with 3 minions. A bat squig, a static squig, and a spite shroom. Okay, so that's like staggermite sort of thing, from the caves and stuff. Sorry, rock one. Okay, this says Mollog is armed with a puff fungus club and a Jabbertoad. So Mollog and his minions are treated as a single model using the characteristics given above. The minions must remain within 1 inch of Mollog's model. Okay, so they're an extension of his own model. And if you're wondering why they're saying that specifically, it's because there's going to be some moment in a game somewhere in the world where a ability pops up where it's like, oh, how does that work with Mollog? Because he's got these extra. How does that work? They've put it on black and white paper for you, so it's very easy to understand. Okay, going to his raw stats, he's got 6-inch movement, 4+ save, a bravery 7, 8 wounds. Not bad, really, to be fair. I mean, this guy's costing you a lot of points. He's 10 points more than a unit of 3 Troggoths, being Fellwater or Rockgut. However, not bad wounds, not bad bravery. Bravery 7, that's pretty damn good. As Troggoth bravery goes, I mean. Okay, and then, yeah, and 4+ save, cool. And then going into his weapons, he's got 2. So it's got a missile weapon and it's got a melee weapon. We're going to look at the missile weapon first, which is the Jabbertoad. So it's got a 12-inch range or 1 attack, force to hit, force to wound, no rend 1 damage. Yeah, it's a shooting attack. You might do a wound with it, and if you do, you go, you got injured by a toad. Okay, and then the next one is the melee weapons, and this, of course, is going to be the Puff Fungus Club. So it's got a 1-inch range and 2 attack, and then to hit, to wound, rend, and damage, it says see below. So we are going to go to that now. So to keep in it, it says do not use the attack sequence for an attack made with the Puff Fungus Club. Instead, roll a dice. On a 1, nothing happens. On a 2 to 3, the target unit suffers 1 mortal wound. On a 4+, the target unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Okay, I mean, you're making 2 attacks with it. You got 2 chances of doing D3 mortal wounds, which is like, do you remember the Starstorm Aces for the Retributors? Sort of, you've got that a little bit, but not really, because if you roll 1s for both of those, if you're unlucky, you're going to hate yourself. If you roll 2 to 3s, you're still only doing 2 mortal wounds. And it's sort of like, oh, and then he's got the other melee attack. It's like, no, that is the melee attack. I'm not a massive fan of that, if I'm honest. It's far too random for my liking. And it's a Gloomspite army, and it's trolls. It's going to be random. But it's a little bit like, it's not like a massive, hugely rewarded. It's random in the sense of like, you've got a good chance of doing D3 mortal wounds, but you've also got a good chance of it being very boring and not really doing anything. Okay, and then continuing with the abilities, we have got the Jabbertoad. So if any wounds inflicted by a Jabbertoad, which are the shooting attacks, remember, well, I say these shooting attacks, I mean the only shooting attack. So if any wounds inflicted by the Jabbertoad are allocated to an enemy model and are not negated, subtract 1 for hit rolls for attacks made by that model for the rest of the battle round, even if the wounds inflicted by the Jabbertoad are subsequently healed. Finally got that word in the end. Right, okay. So, the reason why I sounded really excited when I was reading through that stuff was like, for the rest of the battle. Oh no, battle round. Okay. I suppose it's better than, for the rest of the turn. That's very true, it is. However, no, okay, I'm not going to knock it. It's a shooting attack. You're probably not going to get the damage towards the enemy, but if you do, and if you pick like a hero, you're subtracting 1 from the hit roll. So if you pick like a monster or something, there's a lot of monsters out there, 5-up saves, a lot of chaos monsters, things like that. You make a monster -1 to hit, or a hero -1 to hit, especially, a combat-orientated hero, of course. Yeah, that's enough to piss someone off. So I'm not going to argue that. It's an extra free ability. Okay, and then moving on to here's the next ability. We've got magical resistance. So each time this unit suffers any effect by a spell or endless spell, you can roll a dice. If you do so on a 4+, the effect of that spell or endless spell on this unit is negated. So something I've already talked about this obviously in more depth for the Dankhold Troggoth, but something I want to emphasize here is that it says you can roll a dice, so you don't have to. So when you think, well, when's that going to come up? When am I going to want to not roll dice? It means if you target this with a Mystic Shield, for example, you don't have to roll dice now to see if I ignore it. You can choose when you do it. So basically, you're only going to do it when it's negative effects against you. So yep, and I told you I love that ability, magical resistance. And then the next one is Reassuring Presence, and this is the one which is add 1 to the Brave characteristic of friendly Gloomspite Gitz units that are wholly within 12 inches of any friendly models with this ability. Okay, so now this guy is Bravery 8 instead of Bravery 7. Your trolls are Bravery 6, your standard ones. Your Dankhold's Bravery 7. It's what I explained with the Dankhold Troggboss, but this guy's also got it as well. So that is nice there. Because remember, this guy is 50 points. No, yeah, he is actually. Yeah, 50 points cheaper than the Dankhold Troggoth. So yep, something definitely to bear in mind. A command point cheaper. I'll just say that. Okay, so the next one is regeneration. So this is going to be in your hero phase. Roll a dice on a 4-up. You heal D3 wounds allocated to this unit. So yep, I like that. We've seen that through every War Scroll I've read so far. We're probably going to see it with the Dankhold Troggboss as well. So it's a nice recurrent ability for the Troggoths. Right, okay, and then we move on to the minion ability. So remember I told you he's got 3 minions. So let's see what they do. So the first one is the Bat Squig. So at the start of your shooting phase, you can pick one enemy unit within 8 inches of this model and roll a dice. On the 5+, that enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. This ability cannot be used if the Bat Squig minion has been removed. See loyalty to the end below. Okay, so we'll get to what loyalty to the end is later. But you might think, oh, it's only on 5+. Yeah, but it's a Bat Squig and it's very small. So it's an extra chance to do more wounds to the enemy. And within 18 inches, so that's a long range on that. You can just pick away an enemy hero or something like that. Very nice. Okay, and then the next one is the Spite Shroom. So at the start of the combat phase, you can pick one enemy unit within 3 inches of this model and roll a dice. On a 5+, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by that unit in that combat phase. This ability cannot be used if the Spite Shroom minion has been removed. Okay, and then we'll get to how that's going to come into play later with the loyalty to the end. Okay, so this can be fun. Yes, it depends if you roll a 5+. However, you're subtracting 1 from hit rolls, not from a model, but from a unit, which is big. And then if you want to do it on a model, and let's say beautifully when you threw your Jabbertoad at an enemy monster or hero, combat one of course, you lucky enough you put a wound through, you're subtracting 1 from the hit rolls, and now you subtract another 1. That would be, I'm sure that happens somewhere in the world, and that would just be beautiful, making someone -2 to hit, and then you put in a net involved and all these other things that Gloomspite has, and then you're just laughing, aren't you? So yeah, that'd be quite fun. And then the next one is the Status Squig. So if you choose to remove this minion when you use the loyalty to the end ability below, roll a dice. On a 5+, this minion is not removed, but the wound or mortal wound is still negated. Okay, so basically it's a way for you to So until this guy is gone, he is giving you a 5-up wound and mortal wound save, but it's only like as soon as you fail one roll for it, this guy's gone. And that's why this guy will always be the first one to die, essentially. Right then, the last ability, which is Loyalty to the End. Each time a wound or mortal wound is allocated to this model, it's not negated, you can choose to remove 1 minion. If you do so, the wound or mortal wound is negated. Okay, so essentially when this guy has 8 wounds, he really has 11. Let me know if I'm not reading that right. That's how it reads to me. So, awesome. Keywords: Destruction, Troggoth, Gloomspite Gitz, a Dankhold, Hero, Mollog. So when I was going into this, I was the case of going, this guy isn't going to be very good. It's going to be like all the other Shadespire, Warbands, or most of them at least, because I haven't reviewed all of them, but the ones I've reviewed, they're not worth taking. They're cool, but they're not worth taking. With this guy, not going to lie to you, there's probably going to be better things for you to spend in your points for your army for 170 points. And especially when you're trying to come up with a certain list, you're not really going to have 170 points just to put in for this guy. But if you're doing it for a bit of fun, I'd say give this guy a go. I know I said that quite a few times already in this video, but I think Mollog, he's better than I thought he'd be, not going to lie. He's very survivable, considering what he is, with his magical resistance, with his healing, adding to bravery, regeneration, like I said, healing, and then his loyalty to the end from his very loyal squigs. Yeah. Unfortunately, I am not a fan of his melee weapons, and that is his damage dealing. So I like the troll for everything apart from his damage potential, which is not really how I thought I would like a troll. I thought I like it because it hits hard. This guy doesn't really do that. I mean, there's a chance for him doing it, but not massively. But all of his other abilities are quite cool. It's just like, what is he there for at that point? So, like I say, I don't think he is worth it, but he could be a lot of fun. And he's got a lot of abilities, a lot of things. And like I say, he's got a bat squig. Why would you not like a bat squig? So there is that. Okay, and then we're then going to move on to our last one. And this, of course, is going to be the biggest and the strongest Troggoth that is in the Gloomspite army before someone points at the Troll Hag. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the Dankhold Troggboss. So this is the big guy squeezing the big centipede. In case you don't know, and the spider dangling from his club. Lovely, lovely model. Right, so he is going to cost you 300 points. That's a lot of points. I'm not going to lie to you. That is 60 points cheaper than a Keeper of Secrets and 40 points cheaper than the named character Keeper of Secrets. And I only know that because they're obviously the army I'm building up at the moment. And that's a very rounding comparison, but you know, they're pretty good models, especially the standard Keeper of Secret. What are we looking at? Like a Abhorrent Ghoul King on Terrorgeist at the moment is also 400 points. And I very much say at the moment, until his points more than likely go up in the new General's Handbook. But anyway, enough comparing his points to other monsters. Let's see what you're going to get. And when I say monsters, I mean this guy's not even a monster as far as I'm aware. So yeah, okay. Maybe not the best comparison. So would he... Just going to double check to make sure he's not a monster. Dankhold Troggboss. Right. Okay, so the Dankhold Troggboss is just a leader. So yeah, not a monster. So what that means is he will be benefiting from Lookout Sir. Yes, this thing will be hiding behind other units somehow and benefiting from Lookout Sir. But I imagine that's because he's surrounded by trolls. So they're big enough to block whatever is shooting at him. Anyway, so let's go into his description. So a Dankhold Troggboss is a single model armed with a boulder club and crushing grip. So he's got a 6-inch movement, a 4+ save, a bravery 7, and 12 wounds. Nice amount of wounds, 12 wounds. I would definitely want nothing less than that for 300 points. A 4+ save would have maybe have liked a 3+ save. Like I say, he's not covered by armor, but he's covered with like, you know, like all different types of, you know, like fungus and stuff like that. What could work, like law reasons that could work as a protection. Give him a 3+, but he hasn't got one. I just mean for 300 points, it'd be quite nice for him to have a 3+ save, but he doesn't. Okay, let's go into his melee weapons. So he's got 2. He's got the boulder club, so this is 2-inch range, 4 attacks, 3 hit, 3 swim, mastery round, d6 damage. Nice. 1 attack more than exactly the same boulder club, which the Dankhold Troggoths have, because they're made from the same kits. So I think it's more or less the same sort of size, the club, so that would make sense. But he gets an extra attack, and then you got Crush and Grip, which I imagine is going to be the same as the Dankhold Troggoths, but we will get into that now. Going into the ability, so do not use the attack sequence for an attack made with a Crush and Grip. Instead, pick an enemy model that is in range of the attack and roll a dice. If the roll is equal to or greater than the wound characteristics of that model, it is slain. Okay, so yeah, same as we've seen before. And then the magic resistance, so on a 4+, this guy ignores spells and ender spells, if you want him to. And the reason I just shortened that down is because we've just reviewed that just twice in a row. Amazing, I love this ability. I think it's really, really underestimated. Don't hear enough people talking about it. I really, really like that personally. Okay, and then going into the next one is Reassuring Presence. So add 1 to the brave characteristics of friendly Gloomspite Gitz units that are wholly within 12 inches of 18 inches of any models with this ability. Okay, the reason why this is important and different to the other ones were within are wholly within 12 inches, and this one is wholly within 18 inches. Big difference there. So yeah, just makes that bubble even bigger. All nice to have, and just means that you don't have to take someone else along with your Trogboss to give your Troggoths a better bravery. Your Trogboss can do it. So yeah, I like that. Okay, and then regeneration. So even he can heal D3 wounds and a 4 up in your hero phase. So yep, I like that. And then he's got Squiggly Beast followers. So at the start of the combat phase, roll a 1 dice for each enemy unit within 3 inches of any friendly models with this ability. If the roll is equal to or greater than the number of models in the enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. Yep, so we saw that for the Dankhold Troggoths. Nice to see that ability carries over. And then command ability. So yes, he does have a command ability. So this is Instinctive Leader. So uses command ability at the start of the combat phase. If you do so, pick one friendly Dankhold Troggoth hero with this command ability. Until the end of that command ability, you can reroll hit rolls for attacks made by friendly Troggoth units wholly within 18 inches of that model when they attack. So if you've got enough command points, which you tend to have quite a lot in the Gloomspite army, for sure, definitely compared to a lot of other armies out there, definitely do this. It's going to make you guys a lot more stronger. Because the nice thing about the Troggoths, and I'll be honest, before reading into them, like today when I'm doing this video, I thought the Troggoths to hit characteristics, or maybe to wound characteristics, weren't going to be as good probably to hit, because they're like, they haven't got the biggest IQ, shall we say. They're probably not that good at hitting their targets, so that's what I thought. But because their hit characteristics are really good, re-rolling those ones, like a lot of these things hit on a 3, and then that just means that you're re-rolling those ones, so that means only 2s are sort of failing, if you know what I mean. So yeah, really nice. You've got the command points, so yeah, definitely give it a go. I like that. And then he's got Keywords Destruction, Troggoth, Gloomspite Gitz, Dankhold Hero, and Trogboss. So yes, that is the Dankhold Trogboss. I like him a lot. If you're taking a Troll army, you have to have him in there, and I don't think you're wasting your points doing it. I mean, he's a lot of points. I mean, he is, 20 points less than having a unit of 6 Fellwater Troggoths or Rockgut Troggoths. However, like I say, if I was doing Gloomspites, a Squig army would be fun, a Spider army would be fun, Moonclan would be fun, but I'd just go with the Troggoth army just because it sounds really fun. It's all about damage, combat, and also the models, for me, are my favourite models in the Gloomspite army. So I would be getting a Dankhold Trogboss for sure. So, and that is the last unit for the Troggoths within the Gloomspite Gitz. So some pretty interesting ones there, some pretty powerful hitters, and like I said, better characteristics than I would have thought overall. And yeah, bravery is their biggest weakness. I'll say some of their saves aren't fantastic, but bravery is their biggest weakness. But there's quite a few ways there to get +1 to their bravery, and also, like I say, Spider's Presence things, and there's other ways to help out their bravery as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe and comment down below, as that does massively help the channel in more ways than you can imagine, and is completely free for you guys to do so. If you would like to support the channel a step further, I have now got a Patreon account, which is a great way for you guys to help out the channel by help supporting it, for me to get things like battle tones for armies, saving up towards things like camera, a better microphone, that sort of stuff. And for me to be able to justify putting the time and motivation I do into this channel, as YouTube doesn't pay me. Something I'm going to be looking at doing, though, if I'm honest, is be putting some adverts on the videos. Now, I said many times I don't want to do this and all those sorts of things. However, as always, things in life are getting more busy at the moment, and for me to be able to justify the time put into the channel, and like I say, I haven't really been putting up too many videos lately, like one every week or 2 weeks or something, but I want to start putting up more videos. So for me to be able to justify that time, I need to start getting some sort of income, and the income's not a way, covering how much time it takes to make these videos and all that sort of thing, but it definitely helps, and it helps towards the things I buy to help make these videos. So that's all for sure. So on that note, I'd like to thank my Patreon members who are tier 2. So this is what I call the vampire tier. So these are people who donate at least $5 a month to me, and this is going to be to Max, Kyle, Simon and Martin. So again, guys, thank you very much for your help. The money is certainly adding up now, and will be nice to definitely go towards a microphone or camera are the two things I'm looking at. So thank you very much again, guys. And if you guys can't support me on Patreon, it's absolutely fine. I'm just really happy you came and checked out this video. And as always, guys, so I thank you very much for watching this, and remember, until next time, Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash.